So I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. Is that all right?
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. And then it got real serious, right?
Yeah.
How many of you have ever been told, think before you speak? Or watch what you say? Or my personal favorite, you better be careful what's about to come out of your mouth next.
Oh.
I just hold that one. Well, I know that I sure have, as I just said. We may just think to ourselves, yeah, okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter what comes out of our mouth. So let me tell you it does. Okay? You have no idea what your words do to somebody. How many of you have ever been told something and it impacted you either in a negative or a positive way? Every single one of you probably have. You can either empower people or you can tear them down. Your words can be spoken as life or they can be spoken as death. You'll say life and death.
Life and death.
That was not very enthusiastically. Say it again.
Life and death.
Yeah, there you go. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." This means exactly what it says. All right? It means don't let any negativity come out of your mouth. Only things that are beneficial for building people up. Proverbs 18:21 says, I really like this verse. "The tongue has the power of life and death. Those who love it will eat its fruit." What do you choose to speak, life or death? All right, on the count of three. That wasn't really supposed to be a question, but then I made it into a question. On the count of three, yell out what you'd like to speak, life or death. 1, 2, 3.
Life.
Me too. I want to speak life. I like life spoken to me too. I don't know about any of y'all. If you like having death spoken over you, I'm going to come pray for you here in a little bit, all right? So first of all, there are two big ways of speaking speaking death. There's two big ways of speaking death over people. The first is gossip, which can be defined as sowing seeds of death about someone to someone else. All right, about someone to someone else. Proverbs 21:31 says, "Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity." This verse tells us that by not talking badly, especially about people, which is what I'm talking about, it'll save you a lot of trouble. Clarify, I was not saying that I'm talking bad about people. This is what I'm talking about in the verse. It's talking about people. Whether you realize it or not, you've probably been involved in a gossip conversation from one point or another. How many of you are willing to admit you've been in gossip? You have taken part. I know I have. I was going to say whether no one else is willing to admit that, but y'all admitted it, so we're good. Yeah, I just said that. Sometimes I don't even realize when I'm gossiping. I don't know about y'all, but it's a big deal. It's a big thing, and it's something that happens every day. How many of y'all hear people gossiping every day? How many of y'all take part in a gossip conversation a lot of times? I try my best not to, but when I do realize that I am gossiping, I do try to either shut down the conversation or I try to remove myself from the conversation if I can't change the topic. Even if it's true, even if what you're talking about is true, it's not okay to gossip. It tears people down. It wears them down. It's just negative overall. I don't know what I just did. Give me just a second. Guys, this is where you know it's not bad. Do it. Oh, I appreciate it. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, another big way of speaking death is by slandering. Does anybody know what slander is? I'm not even sure if I'm using slander. I don't know if slandering is a word. I'm just using that sentence. But I just did. It's a thing now. So, slander is different from gossip. How is that? Slander can be defined as sowing seeds of death to someone about themselves. You may say that's the same thing as gossip. No, it's not. Let me tell you. Gossip is whenever you're talking about somebody to somebody else. Yo, Paisley, did you see Jackson up there? He did such a terrible job. I'm joking, by the way. That's my brother. He did a wonderful job. I'm just giving an example, you guys. But now this would be slander. Jackson, you did such a horrible job up there. Like, I don't think you need to make a good name. Okay? Again, I'm joking. This is my brother. I love him. He did a wonderful job. That's how it's different, in case you didn't know the difference. Psalm 15:2-3 says, "The one whose walk is blameless, who does what is righteous, who speaks the truth from their heart, whose tongue utters no slander, who does no wrong to a neighbor, and casts no slur on others." These verses tell us that in order to do what is right and what is considered righteous and blameless, we can't speak ill of other people or slander against them. It's really easy to talk about somebody behind their backs, especially if somebody else is doing it too. Like if Sarah and Ella had been involved in this conversation, we were talking bad about Jackson. That it's really easy to do, right? Me and Paige are sitting here having this conversation. Y'all start adding in. That's like it's really easy to do. How many of y'all hear a conversation and then you're like, oh yeah, let me add something, and you start adding something too, and it's negative about somebody else. Does anybody else do that? I know I do sometimes. Sometimes it can be hard to catch. But let me tell you, it is not cool and it's not right. Right, guys? Yeah. If you're someone who has had slander spoken against them, then you know it hurts. It hurts a lot, and it tears you down, and it wears you down. As I was writing this sermon, I was sitting in the car one day. I don't remember where we were going. We were going somewhere. And I was just thinking and, just really trying to just put my focus on the sermon. And I had my Bible sitting in my lap. Just imagine I'm sitting down because I'm not going to sit down. I have my Bible in my lap, and I'm just kind of looking at it. And I've got some, you can see here, I've got some notes in my Bible. And sometimes I like to go back and reread things that I've written, and sometimes it speaks to me right then. And it just so happened that I flipped to one. I don't know which one it was, so I'm not going to flip to it again. But I had written, I don't know which verse this was leaning to, what it was pointing towards, but I had written, apparently at that time period, I had been having people talking bad about me, either to my face or they were gossiping. Exactly what I was just talking about, right? Some hurtful things were said. The gossip had come back around to me. Somebody had told me what somebody else had said, and I was having things said to my face, and it hurt a lot. So much so that in this note that I wrote, I said that I wanted to be homeschooled. I did not want to go to school anymore. I was done with it. I was sick and tired of it. That is what words can do. Words can be so hurtful that they just make you, you're done. You're done. Right? Words can hurt. They can cause death. And they do things to people that you never even think or realize. And this leads me to my second point, all right? This is going to be a little more positive. I'll try to stay positive at least. Words can do things that you wouldn't even think or imagine of. Life. That's another thing, is it brings you, words can bring life. There are two big ways of bringing life into people's lives through your words. The first big is right with the first big. Guys, I don't know what I'm saying. The first is by raising one another up, by encouraging each other. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are." This verse is probably the most straightforward verse I have in here, and I love straightforwardness. So there it is, right there. You build each other up. You encourage one another. Instead of trying to tear each other down, we should be encouraging one another, lifting each other up. I have a hard time, I still do. I have a hard time encouraging myself and building myself up, not in an egotistical way, just I'm really hard on myself. And even over the smallest things. Last night we had a concert. It's our second song.
Yeah.
I'm the only one playing this part, and I played a C sharp instead of a C.
You did good.
Thanks. Wasn't my point. Over the smallest and simplest things, I tear myself down. So whenever somebody compliments me and encourages me, it means a lot. It does. And I definitely appreciate it. I may not always believe it, but I appreciate it. Especially when it's what I wear. Because to me, your outfit a lot of times reflects your confidence, I guess is a good way to say it. It's me, I like to not that I put everything into my outfit, but I do like to like look cool, you know. I think a lot of people like to. I do. Whenever I have these sunflower pants, I don't know if anybody's seen them. Okay, so y'all see them. I have these sunflower pants, and the sunflowers are very bright. I have this shirt that's bright yellow and has sunflower on it. It's very bright. When people compliment me, I'm like, thanks. Like, I love this outfit. Yeah, I love this outfit. And I'm going to continue wearing it. And then there's people who are like, that's so bright. Like, that hurts my eyes. I'm like, okay, I don't ever want to wear this again. It is not my fault that they don't like color. When somebody, like, especially compliments my outfit, it boosts my self-esteem in ways that they don't even know. When, if anybody, a lot of y'all probably know this, I don't wear matching socks. I hate wearing matching socks. You will not catch me dead in matching socks. If you do, it's not my fault. That means, like, when I'm dead and somebody has socks on me, it wasn't my doing if they're matching. I'm trying to make people laugh, so I'm not very good at that. When somebody, a lot of times I like to wear Crocs, it's like my favorite, and you can see my socks. And so people will be like, why are your socks mismatched? Like, why can't you wear the same socks? I don't like to. No way to put it. When people comment on something like that, I'm like, okay, this is, okay. It lowers my self-esteem, and it lowers my confidence, and I never want to wear, whatever it is that something was commented on, I don't want to wear it again. I probably will, but I don't want to. Another way of speaking life is by sharing the gospel. How many of y'all know that the gospel is life? Yeah, the gospel is life. My favorite verse in the Bible, if you've heard me speak before, you've ever heard me talk, it is Matthew 28:19. You got that exactly right. And it says, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I got excited there. In my opinion, there's literally no better way of speaking life than sharing the gospel. That doesn't mean that you got to get up on a stage and you got to speak to 10 million people, even though they need to hear it. You know, that is not what I'm talking about. It can just mean that you're in a conversation at school and you start talking about Jesus. You start sharing something about Jesus. It may mean that you start telling your testimony of God did this in my life. God healed my mom of this. God healed my Gigi of this. God has done this in my life. He has healed me of this. Whatever it may be, that's not bragging. I mean, it's bragging on God. It's bragging on God. That's what it's doing. That's the only way that you're bragging. But you are sharing the gospel. You are sharing Jesus. You're showing how Jesus has impacted your life. It may just be that it's giving it, basically all it is you're giving an opportunity to tell somebody about Jesus and for God to be able to change their life as well. Because if you don't share the gospel, then who will? Let me say it again. If you don't share the gospel, then who will? I think this is my favorite part of this. Sharing the gospel brings life. It is probably the utmost important way to bring life into somebody else's life, is by sharing the gospel. So as I conclude, I want to challenge each of y'all to just watch what you say. And I'm going to be trying to watch what I say too. Because I know there are times that I say and do things that I shouldn't say. I get in conversations that I shouldn't get in. So I'm going to be watching what I say. And I encourage y'all to, I'm not going to ask y'all to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not going to ask you to do something I'm not going to do. That's just unfair. So I want to challenge y'all to watch what you say. Are you producing life whenever you speak, or are you producing death when you speak? If you're ever in a conversation and you realize you're speaking death, and you may think, well, you know, they deserve it, and like they do to other people. They talk bad about me, you know, like they told me things, they talk behind my back. It doesn't matter. You be the bigger person. You shine Jesus, and you be the one to step out of the conversation. You be the one to change the topic of the conversation. How many of you, raise your hand, would you want people talking bad about you? I know I don't. I hate that. And I hate it for every single one of you who have had something spoken against you or to you that was negative. Because that brings you down and it brings death. For those of you who have had death spoken to you or about you, or over you, are those people opinions, the people who say those, are those opinions that you really value? Because I can say a lot of times whenever I take things like too personally and I really let them think, I really let myself think about them, I don't really care about their opinions. So why am I bothered by it? If it's not a value to opinion, it's not an opinion that you value, then don't let it overtake you.